He and his company, Authors Unite, has worked with over 4,000 clients, getting them to bestseller status. That's not 40, that's not 400, that's 4,000.
I'm 80 grand in debt, 19 years old. I get literally, dude, like 400 messages from people saying, dude, how'd you do this? Like, I thought you were going down a bad path. You dropped out. It turns out that essentially every bestseller list has a certain, you could say, like, algorithm. Now we can guarantee every bestseller list for essentially anyone except.
All right, welcome back, listener. All right, today I have someone I'm genuinely excited about. This is Tyler Wagner. And before I bring Tyler on, I want to tell you a little bit about Tyler. So, Tyler, most people have a favorite author, but they really don't know the man behind the author, the systems, the operations, how it came to be a number one bestseller on Amazon or the other publications. Tyler is that guy. He and his company, Authors Unite, has worked with over 4,000 clients, getting them to bestseller status. That's not 40, that's not 400, that's 4,000. So you can stumble your way to 40, but 4,000, that's a big deal. And that's why I'm excited to bring Tyler on. He is a business owner, he's a business investor, he's a mentor to so many people. And Tyler, we're just getting to know each other, but can't wait to talk with you. So, hey, Tyler.
Hey, man, dude, thank you so much for having me on, man. I'm super grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, during our little pre-show discussion where we just chatted a bit, I told you that I'd love to hear your backstory, and then I want to segue that into kind of how you built this. So, like I mentioned, you can kind of stumble your way into a few bestsellers, but 4,000, man, you've got something really good going on. So, tell me about the story and how you went from college into big business.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, what happened is when I was at the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, we one of my friends, he had read The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And he told me, he's like, dude, you got to read this book. And at that time of my life, honestly, like I really wasn't even much of a reader, like besides like the required readings when you're in middle school, high school and stuff. Like I really never read any book for enjoyment because I don't know. To me, it wasn't fun. But when I read The 4 Hour Work Week, that changed. Like that book, I forget how long it took me to finish it, but maybe like a few days to a week or something. I was just flying through it. And I was like feeling like all these things kept clicking for me as I was reading it. And essentially the conclusion of that was I forget what you call it exactly, but like guidance counselor or something in college.
Mhm. Yeah.
I call them up and I ask if they have an entrepreneurship major. And because at the time my major was accounting because I had read an article that was the highest salary paying job out of school, but I am not meant to be an accountant at all. So thank God I didn't go down that path. But I call and they say, no, we have a management a degree or whatever. And I was like, I'll, okay, thanks for letting me know, hang up the call. And then I decide 2 weeks later, I'm going to drop out. So literally like that book is kind of the foundation to like everything after that. So I drop out and I decide I'm going to be a public speaker. I'm 80 grand in debt, 19 years old. And I'm like, I'm going to be like the next Tony Robbins, right? That makes a lot of, logical sense there. But either way, and I noticed because my way of learning after dropping out of college was reading tons of books. Like my next book was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And then I just became like in the best way possible, like addicted. Like I was ordering like 10, 20 books from Amazon every week. I was on Audible. I don't know if Audible was at that time, but whenever audiobooks was a thing, I started doing those like crazy. And then I was also going to conferences. And this was from this one guy that actually spoke at my college. His name was Andy Durish. He said that he used this tactic when he was younger and it worked really well, which is when you're younger and you're in college or a dropout or whatever you are, when you're young, you can leverage that and basically say, look, like I would love to come to your conference, but I have no money. Or better yet, I'm in debt. but I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. And if I can help you with anything in exchange, like basically with better verbiage, could we work out a deal where I come to the event for free and I work for you for free? Literally, first person I reach out to, the keynote speaker of that event is Tim Ferriss. And the event's called Mastermind Talks. The guy responds like next day. We get on a Skype. This is how far, like,
Yeah.
Skype was like, it was before Zoom, I think. And we're talking on Skype and we come to a deal. And he's like, dude, you help me get oh, I'm blanking on the word now. Basically, oh, sponsors. You help me get sponsors and you can come to the event for free. It was like 6 months after we had the meeting. So next thing I know, 6 months later, I'm miking up Tim Ferriss at the event. So just so crazy how the universe works that way. But regardless, I say all that to say this. I had gone to tons of conferences and I was going for free because I was using this. And I don't want to say using in a bad way, because it was all true. Like
Yeah, of
I
course.
was literally like, my parents were paying my rent. Like I had nothing. I had less than nothing, actually, is the better way to put it. So regardless, though, I realize all these conferences, all the people that are on the stages are authors for the most part, like
Mhm.
90%. They seem to be either authors or best-selling authors. So that has some sort of like click in my mind of like, okay, if I want to do this and I'm in debt and I'm young, I have everything against me. If I become an author, that'll at least like get me on like close to a level playing field. So I write my first book. Few weeks after it comes out, it hits bestseller on Amazon, which is cool. But I will say, like, and I don't know how much you know about this stuff, but we can get into it. Is like, nowadays Amazon bestseller, like most people know, it's kind of like a category thing,
Okay.
and you don't actually need that many sales to hit Amazon
Mm,
bestseller. But
okay.
15 years ago, when my book hit it, I didn't know any of that. And I actually did get in the thousands of sales. I think today, I mean, it's like 15 years later, but I think it has like 40, 50,000 total sales. Nothing insane, but pretty good.
Yeah.
Regardless, it hits. I post a screenshot on Facebook. And again, 15 years ago. So this is when your posts actually were seen by everybody. And I get literally, dude, like 400 messages from people saying, dude, how'd you do this? Like, I thought you were going down a bad path. You dropped out. I come from a small town in Pennsylvania. So like everybody, when I dropped out, thought I was like, on drugs or something. And then 6 months later, I'm best-selling author, so it's like this
Yeah.
huge like hero's arc or something. And then, but what most of the messages were more saying is, my mom wants to write a book. I want to write a book. Like, how did you do
Yeah.
the publishing, the writing, the marketing? And then essentially, long story short, sorry, I kind of gave a long
No,
answer here.
this is great. Keep
um,
going. I love this.
so how the story gets to kind of where I am today is, after I kind of have this realization that this could be a business due to all of the messages I got on Facebook, I help a few friends for free in exchange for a video testimonial. Cause I'm like, before I start selling this, like, let me make sure I can actually replicate what I did for myself for someone else. And turns out that essentially every bestseller list has a certain, you could say, like, algorithm, right? And there are some like variables there. But basically, like, now we can guarantee every bestseller list for essentially anyone except New York Times, because it's an editorial list.
Okay.
But so I go down that rabbit hole, figure it out. And, fast forward, 15 years, 15 years later, like you said, we've helped, now it's like close to 5,000. I don't even know the exact number, but it's probably like 47, 4,800 in that range.
Yeah.
People, it just basically, it kind of just worked out. And I stumbled into it by, I feel like, being aware as I was progressing towards what I thought I was going to do.
Yeah.
But if you do that and you're aware along the way, you'll notice things. And I mean, I will also say, like, it's kind of hard not to notice 400 messages directly at you. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of right in my face.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the story of how we got, to today where the business is at. So that's the origin story.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on that. I'm picking up on different strategies and tactics that I would love to dive deeper into. The first question that comes to my mind is, when you worked with those people for free, to get the feedback, did you understand that that's the core foundation for a lot of startups, or did you just intuitively think, I just need to replicate this, and heck, I need some feedback?
No, dude, oh my God, that's a great question. So I actually had no idea. My thought really behind it was I just was there was two thoughts. One, I didn't want to like have to like refund people or anything. Like to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
being in debt and stuff, that was like very scary. So that was part of it. But the other part was like I was just looking at this and I was thinking to myself, if like is it possible to get other people to have this happen? If it is, then for me to sell it, it's one thing if I've done it, but it's a whole other thing if I have all this third party validation. And so that was I would say the other half of it was truly just like I never, and even today, I don't think I'm like the best salesperson. I just think I'm a people person and it's just natural for me, but I don't have like a sales script or anything. So I thought I was like, okay, if I'm not going to do a script, I'm not a good salesperson. What can help me sell this? Well, if I have thousands of video testimonials, then I feel like I don't, then it's that sells it.
Of
So
course.
I was
Yeah.
it was kind of like a fallback strategy for lack of understanding sales process maybe is the
Yeah.
second half of the answer.
I love that answer. I think, it's almost like two sides of the coin where on one side you've got, well, no, it's the bell curve. You've seen that meme of the bell curve. It's like,
Yeah.
just be yourself, and in the middle it's the super tactical, we need the sales script and it needs to be approved by and on the
Oh,
other
yeah.
side, just be yourself, man. And so
Yeah.
I definitely subscribe to that. And so when you're working with these people, what was the point that you realized, hey, I'm working with these people, I can replicate this to productized offer? And I asked that to give you some context, especially listener, you out there, the people that I work with, we sit in the seat of marketing systems, and so it's different than what Tyler does, where he goes out there, helps you create the book and publish it, write the book, publish it, create it, I guess would be the overall term. You're birthing the book, but we need feedback and testimonials and testing and in our iterative process. And more importantly, we want to have a productized offer. We don't want to just say, hey, this is a coaching program about breath work. No, it's a four-step star system to go from, you know, homeless
Yeah.
to VP. And so for you, Tyler, long-winded question, but I'm curious, what was the steps, the inflection point, the pivot where you said, oh, I've got an offer here?
Yeah, so there's kind of a two part answer.
Yeah.
So how the business started and then like when I feel it actually like really clicked and started to scale are kind of like two different answers. So the first answer, and this I would say got me to like, I don't know, maybe max anywhere from like 3 to 500K a year. So in the
Mhm.
very early first couple years of the business, I did one-on-one coaching, and my idea was it was kind of simple, but honestly very complicated to scale. And it took me a while before I just kind of let go and I was like, dude, you are working 24/7. People are texting you, wanting calls. And it finally, and I'll get into this in a couple minutes, but it finally clicked for me. Like, if I just have courses and I do this for people, I can actually like put this into packages and scale it to a limitless degree. But if it's based on my time and my time only, that has a ceiling. So either way, how it started, and this part's kind of funny. So the business actually originally was called Best Selling Book System, but then I realized the initials were BSBS, and I was like, I don't
Ooh.
really like that. That's not
Oh.
great. So it took a couple years to actually have that realization. Either way, so that's when I was on a run one morning, actually near my parents' house in Pennsylvania, and I was like, it just hit me, when you go on walks or runs in nature, sometimes things just get kind of channeled through you. Not to get all woo woo, but that's what happens to
No,
me.
no, I like it.
And it was just like authors unite. It just like hit me. And then I went right home, went to GoDaddy, and I was like, it's available. And I bought it and I was like, this is what it's about. But either way, it was a 3 month coaching program for 3 grand. And the first month was basically like tying up any loose ends. And this, I will say too, it wasn't like strictly 3 months. It was more like three parts. And if it happened to go over 3 months, perfect. But basically, weekly coaching calls. First part is we need to like, and I was meeting people at different stages. So, say, the person had just started writing the book. I'm having weekly coaching calls. They're just asking me for advice and stuff. And I'm trying to help them to finish the rough draft so that we can get it to an editor and then get to phase two, which is the publishing. And all of this, I'm coaching them how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're the ones actually publishing it, self-publishing themselves, while I am on a call with them saying like, hey, go to this website, upload it here, etc. And then phase three is I would teach them how to make their book an Amazon bestseller. They would hit, and then that was the end of the program. And that was great. And I think, even today, right, there's certain products and service that we change, pivot. Like, to me, businesses, it's like a never ending pivot. Now, you do find certain things, right, that stick for a long time, maybe forever. But the pivoting never actually seems to change. And I think that kind of goes with one of those quotes. It's like the core constant is ever changing or something. I can't remember the
Mm,
quote, but that's like the only thing you can really be sure of like things is that they always change. So this idea, like when we see Apple, it looks perfect and beautiful on the outside, but behind the scenes, there's thousands of engineers tweaking, changing,
yeah.
and it's always revolving or evolving. So point being though is basically the next kind of evolution of the business was when I had that idea of like, okay, dude, this isn't working. Like, the money's good for my age. I was like more than happy with the money, but like I didn't have a life anymore.
Yeah.
So and it really got me too, because I was like, dude, I can do this for people and it will be so easy. And trying to get like a 70, because some of our clients were like old and stuff, which is fine. We still have tons of clients all ages, but like getting a 70, 80-year-old person to figure out how to do like a technological thing like that, like
Yeah.
I would have to be on the phone. Just like getting them to do a video call was like 30 minutes to an hour.
You
So
had to be me back in IT.
yeah, like, dude, it was like really not just working at the
Ugh.
highest level or even close to the highest level. So once I switched it over to done for you, and courses, which I will say though, I don't think I really mastered courses. Like, courses are probably like 0.0001% of our sales. Most of our business is really high ticket done for you. But needless to say, once I switched that model, that was the biggest breakthrough. Like, and then the systems of marketing, which we can get into if you want, but that's what got us from 7 to then now 8 figures where we're at. And everybody I want to get to the next level, but like, who knows if we'll get there. But regardless, once you need processes, and you know this more than anyone, if you're running out of time and it's all on you, you hit a ceiling, dude. Like, you can't get further. So you have to figure out how to do it. There's group coaching, all that stuff. I've heard of all that working. I couldn't figure it out. So I was just like, screw it. You know what? Pay me more. I'll just do it for you. And then I'll
Yeah.
train other people. And then you can still pay me and they'll do it for you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the business grew and started to scale, from at least the
Yeah.
inner workings of it.
Well, that was really fun to listen to because I was placing myself in your shoes throughout, and we, we're running a very similar race here. And you've had more clients than we have, very much so. But when I started early on, I just fell into the lap of working with. Early on, it was those that sell 997 courses, and I liked that a heck of a lot better than e-commerce, which was that was the first two clients I had, because 997 gives you a lot more margin than selling $15 pins.
Yeah.
And then over the years, it moved into coaching. And now we sit in the seat of, hey, we work with high ticket experts and those that sell very productized offerings. Anyway, more to it. This is definitely not about me, but I want to relate it back to that. I've thought for a long time, man, I wish I could provide some sort of course over or coaching program over how to do it. And every single time I've been slapped across the face by myself. And I said, no, Daniel, you provide a done for you service. And that's your differentiator. In a world of those coaches that coach coaches, which perfectly fine, but you stand out because, and so Tyler, I'm relating it back to you in a world of, hey, just write a book. We've got a coaching program. You stand out because, hey, we've got a done for you program. You want to get that book done? It's that thing that's been sitting on your desk for 20 years. Let's get it out there.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. So with that said, did I articulate that well? That's how I'm seeing it in my mind.
Yeah, no, I think it's exactly right, and I would say too, it's like done for you, and then like you're familiar with Alex Hermosi, I'm assuming.
Very, very much so.
Okay, so I think like if there's you can study tons of people. For me, like the top people that I feel like I've learned from are Gary Vee, Tim Ferriss, and Alex Hermosi.
Yeah,
Those are probably like
yeah.
my top three. Far, you have like close to you mentors and far away mentors. I have met Gary Vee and Tim Ferriss. I haven't met Hermosi, but they're not, like friends, I would say. I would like to say that, but that would be a
Yeah.
lie. So I won't say. But
Tyler, I call them mentors I've never met, except it's the opposite. I haven't met Tim or Gary, but a few times now Alex. So
oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah, mentors I've never met. But I like the
Yeah.
far away mentors. I think it sounds better.
Yeah, that does have a nice, and I actually that just kind of like came out now. So, but let's go with that far
Cool.
away mentors. um, is Alex and I've read all three of Hermosi's books, but
Yeah.
I think that what makes Authors Unite unique is exactly what you said, and then for me on top of it, and I'm just bringing this up for like everybody that's listening to this, is like
Yeah.
if you can make, as Alex Hermosi's first book talks about, like your offer, I
Mhm.
forget the subtitle, but it's like so good people feel stupid saying no, something like that. Basically every single offer, we have like 20 different services, everything besides New York Times, because it's impossible to guarantee. Every other offer I have, our agreements are literally like 5, 6 sentences, and they're all just straight up like super clear. We guarantee you will get this outcome. If you
Mm,
don't, we will give you all your money back. It's
yeah.
worded a little better than that,
Yeah.
but it's like it's so simple and clear and guaranteed that I think that's what has helped us get conversions on such like high ticket packages. So either way, I just wanted to add that to it because I think it is super important. And I know if I receive like a 10, 20 page agreement, and maybe this is just me, but for me, if I receive something like that, even if I want to do it really bad, I'm just like, dude, I don't want to read this. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I just want to know what my outcome is and what are the odds. And if that makes sense to me, then I'll pay you. And if it doesn't, then I won't. And, so I think people overcomplicate it. Now, on that flip side, you have to protect yourself legally. So make sure, do your due diligence and everything. But simplicity and having guarantees in your offers, I think makes you stand out because most businesses don't do that, from my experience.
Correct.
So,
Absolutely. And so we're starting to bleed into the world of author to coach or author to expert, author to consultant. And so you're exactly right. When I'm working with folks, and especially when I see people come my way across my calendar, like going back to what I mentioned earlier, Daniel, I have a program over how to breathe better. I'm like, I can't sink my teeth into it. Come on, man. Well,
yeah.
it's it's a good thing I don't know about their offer because I then say there's no teeth. We've got to improve it, and we can improve it together. Or heck, here are the AI prompts, right? Hey, Daniel Pope here. Real quick, I want to give you a huge thanks for listening. If you're enjoying it, I'd love it if you share with others. That's how I get the word out, by you sharing it with somebody that could really benefit from this. Now, I started this podcast to stand out above the noise, to give real growth tactics in a crazy world when others may give some misinformation or not cover everything you need to know. That's not my MO. My MO is being able to give back, being able to help others see what they actually need to do in order to grow. And that's why personally, my company, Be Known, we don't offer any courses or coaching programs. We're a done for you service provider because we know in this world, sometimes people just need a helping hand, a connected team, and an expert to be there every step of the way. So again, I really appreciate you listening, and talk to you soon. I'm curious, when you are getting leads in, where are you getting them from? And as of right now, let's not give away the secrets or anything like that. But what is the makeup? Are you running paid ads? Is it a strong referral system? What are we looking at?
Yeah, no, and I'm happy to basically I feel like give it all away. And there'll be some things I miss because I will be honest in saying like I mean, obviously there's always somebody who's done something longer than you have, but I've been running this 15 years. I'm not as like in the business as I used to be. I'm way
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
detached now. But so as far as like softwares and all that, I only know a few. But here's the core strategy is I earlier on, once I switched it to done for you,
Hmm.
and for example, like Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestseller for many years. And to this day, we are the only ones I know of that can guarantee those two lists. And we charge 60K a pop for them. I think in total we've done like 1400 of those. So that's just like a super popular, right in the middle, kind of perfect offer for our market.
Yeah.
And I realized maybe this was year 4, 5, 6 of the business. I think we were in like low 7 figure range at that time. And I just noticed that like 80% or something, and these are estimates here, but like 80% was coming from like 3 referral partners. And it was these 3 book publishing companies that were referring their authors to us to just do the marketing part. And
Mm.
I was giving them a commission for the referral. And I have tried not everything, but as many things that I could think of: Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO. I've tried all that stuff. For me, I would have random wins with it from time to time, but it was never like consistent. And so for me, I just kind of like, I just kind of gave up on that as far as like an actual like true business growth
Yeah.
strategy. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, we know like Gary V, Alex Ramosi, they've crushed it with paid ads. So that stuff can totally work. SEO totally works. It's just for me, it never worked. And I guess I never stumbled across an agency that I paid that did it effectively.
Yeah.
They did still
Good.
take the money though, I will say. So either way, but I
With
digress.
with a
So
20-page agreement.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, something I don't even remember, but then I was just like so excited, and you live and you learn as you grow, especially. And we probably won't get to this, but the whole other side of things too is like once you make a good amount of money, then investing, dude,
Yeah.
whole other skill set. Like you get burned in business and like running a business and stuff with vendors, you get burned too in investing, and then you
Yeah.
live, you learn, you get better at everything. So either way, to answer your question, is I kind of by default, what happened is I had tried all those other methods, and then I looked at those referral partners, and then another kind of just from being aware of things, it just clicked. I was like, okay, if 3 referral partners are 80% of our revenue, and let's just say at the time, an estimate, we're doing like 1.5 mil a year. I don't know, something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, what if I have 20 of them? Then it would
Yeah.
be like 10 million. What if I have 50? It would be, 20 million. So,
Yeah.
and these just,
Yeah.
and I just start kind of having fun with my self in my mind, whatever. And I'm just thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, this is our strategy now. What I'm going to do is this. And this is still me. I think at that time, I'm still doing all the sales, or no, maybe I have a few people under me. Either way, still earlier days. And my core strategy becomes forget every other marketing method. Now, all I'm going to do is reach out to every single person that works in the industry, have a 20-minute call with them, and figure out where we have synergies.
Yeah.
Right. And
How did you reach out? Was it email or LinkedIn?
so this is actually, and I'll go into more to some of the stuff that we do today, but actually, how it was is LinkedIn was part of it. The other part was website contact forms
Yeah.
on websites because those you can do limitless and there's no spam type of stuff. Whereas cold email, spam happens pretty quickly. LinkedIn has a limited amount, and basically what I'm going to say about all the other ones. So website contact forms have actually been like we have reached out to, it has to be in the millions of website contact us forms. And here's the exact message. And this is actually like my secondary business. It's called Partner Profits. This is what we do. It's very small in comparison to Authors Unite, but I kind of just have it there in case any of my Authors Unite clients are like, hey, like you did such a great job with the book. I also have this business. Do you want to help us grow it? And then Partner Profits is me or my company doing this for other companies.
Yeah.
But basically it's just like most people I talk to, they have a few referral partners. We have like tens of thousands now. And it's just like imagine if you have a few and you're getting some business. Imagine if you had 100, 1,000, 10,000. Obviously that would equal more revenue. And so through a variety of methods, cold email, LinkedIn, AI, cold calling, texting, there's so many different ways that my team goes about it. I think there's like 20 different softwares, like Instantly for cold email, just so many things now. But that essentially the method is and there's really no secret to it. To me, the only secret is the scale of it
Hmm.
that I think most people have not thought of. What if I had 10,000 referral partners? Like that thought
Yeah.
hasn't come across most people's mind from my experience. So the whole idea is, and this is what I was going to say before, the exact message we send, so anybody can do this. It just says, hey, their name. I think there might be ways we can collaborate, and then just your name and the company name at the bottom. That's all it says. And dude, I don't know the exact response rate, but it's got to be pretty high. Most people reply back and they say, like, tell me more. Like, what do you mean by collaborate? Because
Yeah.
their curiosity's perked. And then you reply and say, well, I think we could refer people to each other. Are you open to a short intro call? If so, here's my schedule link. Dude, if you do that, if you send like 300 of those a week, I bet you'll get 50 booked calls a week. Like
I
that's
believe
how
it.
it's so, and then you build all those relationships, they multiply over time.
Yeah.
After you have a few hundred referral partners, it turns more into referral, like sales calls. And then that's obviously where the money starts coming in. And ever since I've gone down that path, that has been to this day, I've like now we have like a 35-person sales team, and some of them go direct, but most of them, it's just straight up they are reaching out and we are booking calls for them with partners, and
Hmm.
they're building their book of business through partnerships, keeping
Yeah.
the relationship, and then they get tons of referrals. And that's the whole
Hmm.
strategy. That's literally the whole thing.
Man, Tyler, thank you for sharing that. Listener, I want you to go back and listen to the past 5 minutes, because that right there, that is an 8 to 9 figure strategy. Tyler, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that is an 8 to 10 figure strategy. So,
I hope so. Right now
no,
we're at
no,
here,
in
but
all
I think it
seriousness,
can get us higher. So I'm hoping so.
yeah, yeah. I'm very serious about that. You know just as well as I do the power in partnerships. And listener, you've heard me talk about on these episodes and in YouTube videos. I cut my teeth on Jay Abraham early on, and I was so blessed to be able to consume content from him, read, just devour what he had to say. And he talks about going exponential. How do you leverage partnerships? And instead of trying to go after one by one client, you go after one partner that can supply you hundreds. That's exactly what Tyler talked about. So, listener, I want you to think for a second how it can be used for your business. You probably don't own a book publishing company. You probably don't own a marketing agency, or you probably have something different, but think about who already has the trust of your ideal clients. And much deeper conversation, but I'll leave you with that. Again, Tyler, thank you for explaining that. That was so important. So when you have these partnerships coming in, and if you're not sure about this, it's perfectly fine. But how's your team tracking it? How are they tracking commissions? Like what's the theatrics or operations there? Because hundreds,
Yeah.
thousands, tens of thousands, oh boy.
Yeah. So there's multiple answers to this. So I'll do my best. So we
Yeah.
use Go High Level.
Yep.
I do have, and his name's Nick, a guy that I hired that he manages all that for us, for the company. And here's the thing, and maybe this will be surprising, but um, the actual tracking now with courses, I know we would always use, and again, courses aren't that big for me anymore. It's just not. I don't know. I just never really figured out the like Facebook funnel. Like for us to sell, it's always been necessary a phone call or multiple phone calls. So I was just never like for example, Sam Ovens, like that model, I never figured out. Just like give Facebook 1 million, you get 2 million back. That was never the case for me. So I say all that to say though, when we were doing courses or trying to do them more, then you would have like very trackable links, and you everything was tracked just by the technology and everything. But with this high ticket, like our average client's like 60K to 150K in that range, let's say. So we do mostly wire transfers. And I say that to say that basically in Go High Level, we have like automation email sequences. Like if people go in a certain stage of the pipeline, they'll go down a sequence. If it's a different stage, different. We even have a partner pipeline where all of our referral partners are getting regular updates of our success stories and stuff. So
Yeah.
all that's automated. There's tags to make sure, like, obviously in every individual person's account, they know who their partners are, but like there's specific tags of like past clients, the services they did with us. So it's as detailed as it really could possibly be,
Yeah.
or at least from my understanding. But the one or few things that are manual is because it's mostly wire transfers, that there is, from my understanding, no like trackable technological like
Yeah.
event to trigger that. So either way, as far as like commissions and tracking all the referrals, that is literally manual.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is a lot of work. And like every Friday, I do payments, and it takes me multiple hours. Like
Yeah.
it is. But it seems to be, and I will be honest in saying, like, there's times where like we owed someone a commission and it got missed. They reach out a month later and they're like, what? And we're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. Like
Yeah.
it just got missed.
Yeah.
So human error. And if there was a way to track that, I would. It's just the credit card fees on 100 grand is like $3,000. So to me, I just do the wire. But does that kind of answer it? It's
It
essentially
sure
go
does.
go high level is
Yeah.
is mostly what we use.
It sure does. And for the listener, I would love to take it a step further if you don't mind me sharing how we do it for wire transfer
Yeah,
under
that'd be great.
ACH. So, listener, I suggest that you always have a field on your form that says, "How did you hear about us?" Now, obviously, you probably aren't getting tens of thousands of partners and paying them out at one time, but every single thing that you can do to track that source, do so. How did you hear about us? Leave it open ended. So, if they put in that podcast episode with Tyler Wagner, let them type it out. They're not gonna be afraid. It's not gonna reduce conversions. So include that. And then most of the time our clients do credit card payments or some sort of payment processing through a card. So there's the tracked link. But Tyler, what I've found is there are some automations, and I don't want to get too deep into the tech, but you could relate it back to, I don't know your accounting software, but QuickBooks is ours.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Quick.
customer paid marked as paid, then look up in a spreadsheet to see where partner came from and cross reference it with like their partner in a spreadsheet, or I'm sure you could do something fancy and high level. So listener, again, not to get too deep into it, but you could set up an automation between three programs here, which is your high level system that takes in the partner, the form, the contact, the whatever, the wire transfer where it goes into, which in our case is QuickBooks. For Tyler, it could be something else. And then also some sort of single source of truth. Could be the CRM, but it could go back to the spreadsheet. That's the best I can explain it without having a whiteboard in front of me. But anyway, maybe
Yeah.
just some food for thought, listener, and Tyler on that. But again, I kind of like the manual process because it makes sure I keep my finger on the pulse. Tyler, do you, in a world of AI, do you ever find yourself kind of craving, man, I kind of like this. It's cathartic to go through this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd love to hear your take on how do we AI proof some things.
Yeah, I mean, and that's actually what I love about this model, I guess, of marketing is, to me, it's like the most old school way that I can think of doing things, right? It's like even before the internet, and I can't verify this, but this is like this is what I would have done. Say if I owned a restaurant in like a small town or a city, doesn't matter, and it was before the internet, before TV, my thought would be, let me go to every other business within like, I don't know, 50-mile radius, and let me try to make some sort of arrangement between them and us that every customer they get it is aware of us, like they tell the customer, and then I do the same for them. And it's like, so then, and then I'll have thousands of businesses around me all doing that for me. I'm doing it for them too. But obviously, most of them didn't do what I did. So I'm getting 1,000 for me. They're only getting one back to them each. And you know what I mean? And then it would just grow. And obviously, you need a good product and service. But so, point is, to me, the idea of like just having open conversation about, hey, we do this, we do this. And what's funny is we're a book publisher. The way I would describe Authors Unite, we're a book publisher that emphasizes in marketing, right? Which is like very rare. Most book publishers don't do any marketing. So another way to describe it would actually be like, we're a book marketing firm that also can publish your book. Like maybe that's another way. But I say all that to say that we have like 300 different keywords that are potential partner like keywords that we go after, people/company keywords. And book publisher is our like top referral partner, even though they're competitors. And so the idea there though is like, yes, there's some overlap. We both write books for people, we both edit them, we both publish them. Cool. You're not going to refer to me for that. I'm not going to refer to you for that, probably because it's a competing service.
Yeah.
But who cares? You do this that I don't do, and vice versa. So let's refer there, and you
Mhm.
do that at scale. And so I say all that to say, to answer your question, that like AI, and actually this is very new, so this is like negating what I'm about to say, but um, I feel like AI can't necessarily have that type of conversation. But my tech team has just told me a couple of weeks ago about this like AI cold calling thing. And so actually, I think maybe it can, and what I'm saying is not true.
Or the test. No, it's okay. And you started off with, as businesses, we always need to pivot and evolve. And Tyler, offline, I'd love to share, some ideas I've had around my pivot. And
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll
I
catch
love
up
that.
later. But with that said, listener, keep your finger on the pulse. And Tyler, I would love to land the plane on, you've obviously grown and scaled in the truest, purest form of the word, scaled a company in our wonderful, crazy niche of authors, experts, coaches, consultants.
Yeah,
How do you think about hiring and sourcing team members? And you don't have to give away where you hire them from or like your team structure, but anything you'd
yeah.
like to share, because there's one thing of you doing it yourself, hiring a VA, and then 35 sales team. So there, I want to figure out the middle gap for the listener.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to keep this organized, but in my brain it's a little scattered because I'm
Yeah.
like thinking about all the different things. But I'll do my best. It will probably be like section by section. So one of the cool kind of side benefits of this referral partner marketing approach
Mhm.
is, through doing that, you find other people that offer amazing services that you can then white label or hire them for in your own company.
Mhm.
And so that is actually like most of my book cover designers, book formatters, editors, ghostwriters, etc. They were just referral partners. And then I realized, like, hey, you have your own kind of freelance thing going on over here. Authors Unite, it's not like enterprise, but it's a decent sized company depending on who's looking at it. So why don't I bring you into Authors Unite, and then you can do this for us through us, and you'll have steady business. And so my team is actually mostly and my dad would be able to answer this technically, but I think you would say it's the 1090. So I don't really have like employees. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
1090 freelancers.
Yeah.
But I have tons of writers, edit like everything that a book publishing, book marketing company would have. I have dozens, if not more than that for each. So that's there. And then sales team, that is commission only. And mostly the model, by the way, is our sales team. If anybody closes someone direct without a referral partner, they get 20% of the total sale.
Hmm.
And then if it's through a referral partner, they get 10% of every person that comes from that referral partner. And that has worked out like very good. And I found most of them through two different pathways. LinkedIn, just type in high ticket closer, and there's literally like thousands, if not more than that, of high ticket closers that work for commission only on LinkedIn. Just reach out, have a call. If it works, it works. And then there's high ticket training academies,
Hmm.
and this is all, it all goes back to the partnership method type thinking, you know?
Yeah.
So once it was working on LinkedIn, but it was one to one, I was like, well, what there's these like there's this one called She Sells Academy.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
and she has tons. We reached out to her, she promoted it to her list. We got 50 interviews booked. Just like that, you know? And they're all like amazing, very highly trained. So that's been like a newer development. That was pretty recent, but super
Cool,
cool and
man. Yeah.
and I'm trying to think. Oh, the last thing, last answer to your question. There's probably more, but just for the time we have, assistant. So I have an assistant that was introduced to me actually by my brother. She's out in New York. And this like six-figure, executive assistant. So like I do recommend if you're thinking about 4-hour work week and really getting or buying back your time, as Dan Martell would say, if you're familiar with him,
Yeah.
at you I just think don't just do like the overseas $5 an hour for like your like true full-time assistant. Get a really good, just as best as you can, and then but as that spurts out, then I think you should still get highly trained, but you can get the $7 $10 an hour ones,
Hmm.
and they're great as long as they're trained, but it all filters through your high level assistant, and that's the way I would set that up.
Excellent. Well, Tyler, this has been a jam-packed time. We've covered some really good gold nuggets for the listener, and listener, if you have any question about this, reach out to Tyler. I've talked with him for the past hour now. He passes my vibe check, my energy. But with that said, Tyler, if the listener is sitting there saying, I'd love to get my book done. I've had it on my Google Drive, my bookshelf, even a stack of papers, a manuscript for 5 years. Tell us, how can they find you?
Yeah, website's just authorsunite.com, and there's like a book your call link right on the top right. So if you are interested or just have questions, feel free to schedule a call with our team, and we're happy to help.
Excellent. Well, Tyler, any parting words? Any fun phrase for the audience here?
I do have one, but I'm afraid if you haven't noticed, I feel like I over answer. I always give as many details as possible. So I would just say if you're working for a company in a 9 to 5 and you have that entrepreneurial spirit, take the leap. It's totally worth it. That's what I would say.
I love that. I very much subscribe to that as well. All right. Well, Tyler, thanks, man. It's truly been a pleasure. This has been a fun one.
Thanks for having me too, man.
Absolutely. Hey there, Daniel Pope here again. I want to take a couple seconds to talk about my company, Be Known. Now, Be Known exists to be a done-for-you service provider for online-based businesses, coaches, and those that sell online courses and information products. We help them grow from 6 figures to 7 figures and then into 8 figures. We do this because there's so much misinformation out there. So many people just selling a course or just a coaching program over how to grow. Well, we're different in the fact that we actually do it with our clients. We take care of the advertising. We take care of the email marketing, the tech, all the tech. Yes, all the tech, the landing pages, the funnels, the growth strategies and tactics. So I think of ourselves as a expert implementation team plus a fractional CMO per se that guides you every step of the way. So if you've listened to this podcast or an episode and said, okay, that's great, but I don't really know how to do that, or I just need help. Well, that's why we exist. So I want to invite you to a call with me, a consultation where we can talk through your business, talk through what's going on, what challenges you have, what constraints, what bottlenecks, and figure out a path forward. If we're a mutual fit to work together, great. If not, no problem. We'll send you on your way with resources and stuff that can help you get up to speed quick. So again, I invite you to talk more with me, and that is beknownonline.com. beknownonline.com/start is where you'll go. And I cannot wait to talk to you. Again, if you enjoyed this podcast, I'd love it if you can share with some friends. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to your success. Take care.